Hi, I'm Heather from here booktubes, and today is romances with a pregnancy in them. I'm just struggling over here. I absolutely do not mind having a pregnancy in my romances. Obviously that happens in a lot of relationships. I don't love when it's surprise baby that is used as a conflict. That's not my favorite dynamic. So that is not what this is. These are ones where you find out the pregnancy right at the beginning, or the pregnancy plays an active role in the couple's storyline after they are an established couple. So my first one is Sacrifice, which is Bloodline Vampires #1 by Katee Robert. I'm laughing because if you thought that this list was just going to be like contemporary couples getting pregnant, no. As much as I like that, I can't remember which ones they were, so a lot of these are not that. So she does not get pregnant in the first book, but in the second book, she's kind of like really actively trying to get pregnant because her dad is the worst and he's this evil like vampire lord. And if she gets pregnant, or any of her siblings, they can then take the place. They can be the heir. Vampire bloodlines are important, and so you cannot become the leader unless you have somebody to pass on your magic and bloodline to, basically. So the whole second book, she's trying to get pregnant. And then the third book's not out yet, and it ends on a cliffhanger, so this is just like my favorite of Katee Roberts' series that I've started reading, and it is reverse harem, except it's not. It's polyamorous. Everybody has a relationship with everybody else. It's 4 of them. And she is a vampire, so she is half vampire, half human. A lot of times they have powerful magic, but she doesn't. So she's just sent as the sacrifice to this vampire to be a blood bank and or a womb. But she knows if she gets pregnant that her father will have her have the baby. He will take the baby in order to control the father, and she won't live past giving birth. So that's traumatizing. Her dad's abusive. You don't really see that on page, but you clearly get that he's the worst and you hate him like a lot. You want vampires trying to save the world via sex, and it's amazing, and they're feral, and they are icy and sunshiny and just all the things, and there's like so much angst between all of them, but also like just a ton of fun. It's just so good. It's so good. There's some great twists. Really loving the series. Can't wait for the third and final installment. It's so good. I have Keeping Lily, which is Disciples #1 by Izzy Sweet and Sean Moriarty. This is a dark mafia insta-love series, and the disciples are the mafia, and the first book is about Lucifer, and then all of the other guys have their own disciple names, and they all put like a baby in the belly of their woman within like a week of seeing them for the first time. It's very over the top, very possessive, very alpha, very not quite consensual, because they see their woman, they know that's going to be their woman, and they honestly don't care if she's caught onto that fact yet or not. I love it. These are just like the best like instant love obsession, but like the woman's still holding out a little bit mafia series. They are very violent. I have mentioned this before. Very violent, like skinning alive, blow torching, that type of violence. But basically that's all going to happen inside the warehouse in the torture room. So if they're going in there and you don't want a ton of violence, maybe just skip some pages there. So basically, I can't remember for sure, but they pretty much all get pregnant really quickly. I think maybe one kind of struggles with infertility or something like that, but that's kind of referenced in a different book, not in their book. Like it's been a couple years and they're finally pregnant, that type of thing. So good. I don't know. It's bloody, it's violent, it's smutty, it's fast-paced, it's quick, it's easy. I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. Then I have the Darkening series by Suzanne Wright. So this is demons, and they are psychic anchors, and then they're also fated mates. And the first one, he's the most powerful demon in the world. She's kind of a unique demon because of her parent but she also doesn't quite have all the powers that she should, and she's also a little bit like not like other girls, but in a way that I like. She just kind of, she's not power hungry, and that is very, very unusual for demons. So this series, the demons and the not quite humans, but they kind of share the same body. So there's two entities for each one of them, and I liked that they were both demons, and it's not like the 18-year-old human has made it to the most powerful demon in the world. No, it's like they're demons, and I just love them. And there are 4 books about this couple, and at some point they do get pregnant, and it does play a heavy role in the series because he's such a powerful demon, and the demon world doesn't actually know what type of demon he is. They don't want him having a kid because they are very worried about the power and about themselves, and you know, we don't want somebody that can destroy all of us. So there's a lot of people trying to attack them, keep them from having a child, and it's very interesting. Urban fantasy, fated mates, alpha, very dominant. Love it. Then I have New Species by Laurann Dohner. This is the series that introduced me to nodding, if you don't know what that is. And I've said before, the new species are kind of like shifters, except they don't actually shift. They are humans who are mixed with animal DNA by an evil, what's that word? It starts with a P. Pharmaceutical company. And they were abused and experimented on and all the things. And the government was funding the company because they're like the biggest like medical company who come up with vaccines and things like that. When it came out that the new species existed, the government had to make reparations, and so they gave them their own country area in the United States, which I mentioned before is highly unrealistic of our government, but whatevs. Anyways, so the first book is about the woman who exposed the reality of New Species, and the New Species male that she was like kind of had a thing with, not like they didn't like have any sexual relations or anything like that, but kind of had a thing with while he was in captivity, but she kind of had to betray him a little bit because something happened and she had to blame him for it because she had the proof that she needed on her. So she had to clock out. She had to leave that day, and something happened and she blamed him, and there's cameras and stuff. She couldn't tell him what was happening. So he has a lot of anger towards her. Also, the pharmaceutical company had always tried to, there was a lot of forced matings and things like that because they needed more test subjects, but there's never been a second generation New Species. And so then that plays a role in the series because most of the mates do get pregnant, and it's fascinating. It's a fascinating series. I Think I Might Need You, which is Love Sisters #2 by Christina C. Jones. This is a surprise baby that happens in like the very first chapter. This is the second book in the series, but it's companion. So the first sister gets her romance in the first book, and the second one, you see that they're a couple. That's not really a spoiler. So this one I like is a YouTube, I think it was YouTube, influencer. And it's a rom-com, it is a novella. Things don't happen right. And yeah, they're not together or anything, but he like wants to be, and she's like, no, I don't know. It was really good, and you got to see a lot of her going through pregnancy, and she was like a health and fitness YouTuber, I believe, or influencer in general, and her struggle with pregnancy not going how she wanted it to just because she was fit and healthy. And that is a thing that is reality. Pregnancy is kind of outside of your control. There's a lot of risks and there's a lot of possibilities, and we don't get to decide what we get. Lastly, I have one that I have a little bit of mixed feelings on. It's Dishing Up Love by Katee Robichaux or something. because I'm real great with pronunciations. So this one, he is a chef and he has a show that he films where he goes up to somebody in the grocery store and they take him home and he shows them how to cook a meal. Well, he picks her, he has an instant thing for her. It's never happened with any, he's always, very professional, but with her, he's just like, she's the one, I know she's the one. And they're in New Orleans and they get to travel around. And so a bunch of the book actually just covers this one day while he's there before he has to go somewhere else to film. So the reason why I have mixed feelings is because she has infertility issues and she has a surgery to get that corrected. And so she gets pregnant from this one night stand, but she had also gotten pregnant before from having unprotected sex like one time. I feel like that's not a great representation of infertility issues. Now, obviously, not everybody's experience is the same, so I'm not necessarily arguing that it's impossible. I just felt like if you're going to have so much of the book really focused on the infertility issues, I thought it was odd that the 2 times she had unprotected sex, she got pregnant. And this covers a lot of the nausea and the side effects of pregnancy. And she's a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and he's, based here over in Los Angeles, I think, and she's based in New Orleans. And so it's kind of their struggle of, I don't want to give up my very successful practice in order to be with you, but also you can't move. But we do. It was interesting and I enjoyed it. So that's it. Those are my pregnancy romance recommendations. Is this something that you enjoy? Is this something that you despise? It is a very polarizing content in romances, and I'd love to know what you think. Give me any recommendations you might have. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.